Hi, I'm Samantha Sanders. I am 37. I think I'm 37. I might be 36. I'm not sure. And how long have I been running for? I have been running for 5.5 years. I live in Retford in Nottinghamshire, so pretty close to the Sherwood Pines backyard. So it's not far for us to travel, not far for us to think about all the logistics of that. So running for 5.5 years, started ultra running 2 years ago, and my first ultra was at a backyard. So it was at a backyard in Leeds. Totally went into that unknown, didn't know how far I could run, didn't know if I could cope with the actual logistics of the race. I'd only ever ran a marathon before that, so really it was the unknown for me. And I also always focused on speed. So again, slowing my running down, having breaks was totally unknown to me. So went into that blind and did 20 laps, and then absolutely got the bug for the backyard ultras. So what I like about them is that you're just totally in your own space. Your thoughts. Yes, there's other people around. Yes, you have conversations and get to know people, but you don't have to think about anything other than finishing the lap, going to the toilet, eating some food, getting back on the start line. And that's lovely, beautiful concept until it just goes absolutely tits up. And you can't think about anything other than stopping the backyard. So I did Sherwood Pines then after that last year. And my goal was to just get through the night. I really struggled through the night on the last backyard. So even though it was starting later in the day, so it was starting at 12 o'clock compared to the 8 o'clock start, getting through the night would have been less laps than what I'd done previously, but that was the goal. Then the goal was, if I got through the night, to try and get to as many laps as before. And I got to that quite comfortably. And I think that was because the sun was rising. There was less time in the dark. I knew I only had a few hours for the sun to rise once I started flagging, and then I got a massive boost. So did that, got to 24 and then got to 26. And again, just absolutely went from being okay to not being okay. Yeah, and that's the beauty of it, isn't it? You don't actually appreciate how far you're running until you look at your watch, and then you're like, oh, wow, how have I run that far? And then that euphoria hits. It's like the end of a race, the end of a short, fast race every time you look at your watch. It's bizarre. And I think that's the beauty of it. You've got those endorphins. You don't hate life throughout of it. You're not wondering who you are and questioning your life choices. It's just a beautiful format, and you feel really good about yourself. You get to know people. In ultra races, you do chat to people, but not to the extent you do at a backyard. And then you're just not competing with anybody. You're competing with yourself. And yeah, it's just lovely. It's a lovely concept. Yeah, and I've reflected on this a lot because this will be my fourth now, and it's been every 6 months. So I have booked. I've done one ultra, consecutive running ultra, and I found that so much harder than the backyard. And I was thinking, I think it was 34 miles, and I just thought, there's no way I can move anymore. And I struggled mentally, physically. But you just don't. You don't with the backyard. That's what I just love about it. One, I don't know. I suppose a thing for me is I've never pushed through the mental barrier, even though I've been moving absolutely fine. As soon as my head goes, I can't move. I'm tired. Everything hurts. And for me, everybody else, people you've never met, are saying to you, "Come on, you can do this. Get back on the start line. You moved so well the last lap." So just that, the beauty of those relationships that you build with people you never know and never see again until another backyard. So there's lots of people doing this one that did the last one that I've met, and actually some local runners, people that run in the same club as me, of another town close to us, people that run there. So it'll be good to see them and catch up. But I think Julie Bethane's doing it, isn't she? Who I totally admire. And actually, I just love watching how much she achieves. And like, her format's very different to mine. So we don't spend time with each other on the course, just maybe we give each other a nod in between and how you're doing and things like that. So I'm looking forward to seeing her. And actually, I think I've only ever done a backyard with her when Ian's doing it, and I don't think Ian's doing it. So yeah. So training's going okay, not as great as I'd like it, but I'm hoping the next couple of weeks I can ramp that up. And that's just because I had an injury, then I did a backyard, post that injury, recovered from that. So anyway, we can make excuses all day long, can't we? But I will be showing up. In terms of goals, I do have goals, but they vary, and I always have multiple goals so that if I don't achieve that thing, I can move on to the next. But also so that if I do achieve that goal, I've got another goal after that so that my head doesn't go. But this time the goal is to push through the mental barrier because I've not done that yet. I've quit every time. And I would like to possibly time out because I've not done that yet. I've always quit in camp. So Mark and I run a lot together, and he's done every backyard I've done, we've done them together. We don't necessarily stay together on the course, but we're in camp together. He might tell me off for saying this, but he's only doing so many laps this year, and he's going to crew me. So we've got a deal that he's going to make sure I'm back on that start line, and he's not going to let me stay in camp. But we'll see how those arguments unfold on the live cam. Yeah. Your personality totally switches, doesn't it? Because and I think this is the thing, you do have to apologise to people beforehand. Just don't, because I told them all to fuck off last year and to not be in camp when I got back. No, I think you do gain experience every time you do one, and it might be something really little, but actually it has a massive impact. And they get more excited, don't they? I think I was watching a documentary months ago, and they were saying that, the race doesn't start, if you call it a race, until whatever hour or whatever day for the professional backyarders. And you kind of move to that then, because you don't have to think about all the variables because you've probably already covered them before. So you've got that out. So you actually can relax more into it until the problems start. Not getting too far away from other runners when it's night time, because then your head starts, for me, my head starts playing tricks on me, putting myself into situations that aren't going to happen. But yeah, so then I starting to back out a little bit. And not to eat. I tried to eat a lot because I knew I wasn't going to eat in the night, but actually all it did was give me a massive glucose high and then a massive drop, which I then struggled with. So yeah, the nutrition is going to be key this year in what I'm taking when I'm taking it, and not overloading myself early on. Yeah,
that's going to be a fun weekend though.
Yeah. It's going to be. It's going to be good. Let's just hope. I suppose this weather would be fine.
I'm sorry, he completely
did you get the dog?
Yes. Just halfway through, and his head just went.
He's a training buddy as well. So whenever I've got my running gear on, he's usually thinking I'm taking him out. I think I'm going to go for a duck-sized horse because you could put them in your pocket.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about it. It's like, how do you fit a horse-sized duck? And that's not what you said at all.